Hey everybody, it's X, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing the Wilds of Eldraine Arena Open Day 2 Draft Number 1. This is going to be a very high stakes best of 3 Wilds of Eldraine draft event, where the goal is to win at least 3 matches out of the next 4 rounds. If we can do that, we will be qualified for the Arena Open Day 2 Draft Number 2, which is another best of 3 draft, with up to $2,000 in cash prizes on the line. So that's always where we want to be. Obviously, it would be sweet to get enough wins to get into that second draft, but no matter what happens, we will be leaving with some amount of additional gems. So without further ado, let's hop into the draft and see where the cards take us today. Alright, so here we are for our pack 1 pick 1, and it's kind of awkward here, not because we don't get a super powerful card. We're obviously going to be able to take this Realm Scorcher Hellkite, but it's pretty awkward because taking the Hellkite out of here, we're passing Witchstalker Frenzy as the best card in the pack. After that gets taken, the best card is cut in, and then after that, still, in my opinion, the best card is probably Ratcatcher Trainee, although at that point you start getting to Balluna's Gatekeeper and Root Rider Fawn starting to compete with these two commons, but top 3 cards in this pack are all red, which means that pack 2 red is going to be hard cut. So if the players on our right are also drafting red, we're probably going to get pushed off of this Realm Scorcher Hellkite. So that's the one big issue here with the makeup of the pack, but I think it's still a powerful enough card that we just take it here. If I want to get really next level and just completely ditch red, I guess we would just take Gatekeeper or Root Rider Fawn. I don't think there's a powerful enough secondary card or secondary color worth of card to not just take the strongest card there. If there was like a pretty premium uncommon in another color or something, maybe we could just be like, let's just have the whole draft pod fight over red and not get in there, but just not a good other option. For pick 2 now, we've got a Minstrosity in black, which is pretty solid. Johann's Stopgap in blue is nice. Twisted Fealty in red is pretty decent for any aggressive strategy, and most red decks are going to be quite aggressive. One thing we could do here is draft red pretty heavily when we know that we'll still have access to it, because I, again, doubt we're going to get past basically any red cards in pack 2. So just take the Fealty now to get the red cards while we can. I don't think there's anything that strong secondary colors. I think it's really just Fealty versus Minstrosity or Stopgap, and these are solid, but I do like the Fealty a lot as a kind of finisher. So let's take that here. But Minstrosity, Werefox, stuff like that, still looking pretty good there. Pick 3 now. That's a pick 3 Agatha's Champion, which is a fantastic card. This thing hits the board and fights something else off if you have the bargain fodder for it, but we can also just keep scooping up red cards. There's an Edgewall pack and a Ratcatcher Trainee here, both incredible aggressive options. I think I prefer the Ratcatcher Trainee if we are just sticking to red, because the flexibility of this card is super nice. It's your 2-drop on curve as a 2/1 first striker, and it's also got the pest problem flexibility when you draw it later in the game, getting a bunch of creatures off the one body and multiple pieces of bargain fodder. So I like the Ratcatcher Trainee a lot here over the Edgewall pack if we take a red card, but it's that or Agatha's Champion, and I actually think I will go Agatha's Champion over Ratcatcher, even though kind of do have to find the red cards pack 1 if we're sticking to that color. Pick 4 is a pretty easy Edgewall in, because this is going to fit into basically any deck that we end up playing. It's going to be fixing between our main 2 colors. If we're splashing, it's going to be really good, and if we get any cards with adventures on them, it's going to be exceptional. Yeah, that's pretty easily the pick. None of these commons are premium. I think the best cards in the pack are Edgewall in, Into the Fey Court. That's kind of it. Grasp of Fate's okay. So we'll take an Edgewall in here. Pick 5, there is still a Flick a Coin towards red, which is not bad. Totentanz is solid in the black-red decks, but I never see it as a huge reason to jump onto that archetype. Plus we have the really powerful green spell here with Agatha's Champion to try to stay towards that direction. Yeah, Flick a Coin's easily in the top 3 of the pack. I think Flick a Coin, Totentanz, it's the 3rd best card here, probably Ice Out. But blue's not a color I want to hop onto super early without a really great reason to do so. But yeah, these blue spells are probably tied for third with like Evolving Wilds for flexibility, but we already have the Edge Wall in, so I'm going to take the Flick a Coin here. Pick 6. The red is dry. There's not much in green. There's honestly not much anywhere in this pack. Archon's Glory is probably the strongest card, just as a really nice combat trick when you have bargain fodder for it. But then there's like Attendance, which is pretty filler. Obira is good in specifically blue-black and nothing else, so a very narrow card there, even though it's technically the strongest for its cost. I think I'm probably just scooping up a random green combat trick, like a Leaping Ambush, or a Spider Food for the sideboard. Take a Leaping Ambush here. Pick 7, there's a Spider Food for the sideboard. Sir Armont, if we go green-white, or if we splash this in. This is a lot of stats for the mana cost, a 4/4 plus that monster roll for +2/+2 trample, as long as Sir Armont's on the board. I think Armont's pretty easily the best card here. We don't need to take a sideboard piece out of the green. Let's take the Sir Armont. Pick 8, still a gnawing crescendo here if we do a super aggressive, super wide board state kind of red deck. This is the second Waste Knot we've seen, but at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we literally can't wheel the other Waste Knot, so I can't try to be like the once in a blue moon Waste Knot Ariet's Whisper deck, because we are not able to get both copies. Take the crescendo here. Scream Puff's fine too. Alright, pick 9. This was what we got our pack 1 pick 1 out of, and Gatekeeper's still in the pack. I think it was one of the better cards. The best cards, if I recall correctly, were Witchstalker Frenzy, which is gone, Cut In, which is gone, and then there was a Grabby Giant out of red, which is also gone, and a Ratcatcher Trainee out of red, which is gone. So 5 of the 8 picks out of this pack were red. One of them was the Realm Scorcher, and then 4 other players out of the 7 in this pod took a red card out of that pack. So red is going to be immensely contested. It looks like we probably do get pushed off the color, maybe onto blue with this Balluna's Gatekeeper, heading towards blue-green or something. Now we have filler draw spell or a sideboard counter spell. I'll take the sideboard counter spell. Pick 11, Bitter Chill, I think is a super solid reason to be hopping onto blue. Not really that I want to be in blue in this format as it is the weakest color, but sometimes the draft pod just pushes you onto the tracks of the railroad while the train's coming at you and you have to just accept your fate. So that's what's happening in this pod when we see that 5 red cards were taken out of our opening pack. Literally half the draft pod took a red card. Well, more than half the draft pod if you count us as well. And then we get a pick 13 ice out. So we're blue, and we're not red. That is the only thing that I can guarantee. For pack 2, pick 1, I think we got to take a Gingerbread Hunter here. Oops, almost cut a green card. We are going to need to do a little bit of splashing around to get this in, because we need to be blue-black splash green or blue-green splash black. But having a puny snack and a 5/5 that comes with a food token off of one card is a really huge deal. The card's a massive 2-for-1. So we'll take the Gingerbread Hunter here and keep track of the next best cards to see what wheels back to us. Next best cards are Johan's Stopgap, Hollow Scavenger. That's about it. Fairy Fencing, Voracious Vermin are fine. Alright, pack 2, pick 2. Wow, this pack is empty. We probably have to take a Prophetic Prism or a Scarecrow Guide for some splashing here. I guess the Princess Takes Flight's one of the better cards, but it's like a good aggro removal spell for getting that Chapter 2 value. Unless you have a million ways to bargain it or pick it up, then you can use it in any deck. Obviously, there's a cut-in for the 15 red drafters at the pod. Could still splash in, flick a coin, but splashing in the Hellkite's going to be really miserable. A double red splash. I think I'm going to go for the Prophetic Prism in a slower, splashier deck here, like we will be in blue. Now a Hollow Scavenger off of green, probably blue-green splash black, get that Agatha's Champion into the deck, get the bargain fodder for it off the food tokens from Hollow Scavenger, splash in a tiny bit of black, maybe a tiny bit of white as well if our mana fixing goes really well, so blue-green at the core here. We take the Scavenger, potentially wheel the Ice out or the Quick Study, with blue not being that contested in the pod, because there are several players that are going to take a Grand Ball Guest over one of the other cards. Obviously, only one player gets to do that, but several players will be interested in that option. Take a Hollow Scavenger here. Pack 2, pick 4. Well, it must be these players on red, because we're actually getting red cards from these drafters, these 3. Unless everyone did the same thing as me and was like, all right, well, we can't play red. Probably supposed to be returned from the wilds here, but I'm actually really tempted to take that red Cap Thief and try to keep the red dream alive. We just go control red rather than aggro red, so we don't get to use these 2, but flick a coin red Cap Thief for treasure tokens, getting towards a double red spell. Maybe blue-red, splash some other colors. Grand Ball Guest, not the greatest in a more controlling build. Titanic Growth, it's not either. Johann can be a lot of value, but Transmuter is pretty flexible. Early game removal and the 4-drop 3/4 is nice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to take the Johann. If we're really lucky, we might get the Transmuter back. Diminisher Witch is a great pick here. 3 mana for a 3/2 that we can also bargain, get a Cursed Roll on the board if we need to. Also still a Boundary Lands Ranger. We want to just take another red card to up the red count towards Realm Scorcher. That's also pretty reasonable too. I don't have as many 2-mana creatures as I would want, even if I am a slower deck here. Yeah, let's actually go for the Boundary Lands Ranger. Okay. I mean, we know for a fact 4 players took a red common over anything else last pack. Well, 1 took an uncommon, the other 3 took a common. Cut in Ratcatcher, Grabby Giant. But now the best cards are red. Well, out of this pack. Okay, back onto the blue. We grab an Into the Fey Court here as the best spell. Very nice card draw. Pick 9. So the best cards that we saw here were Johann's Stopgap, Hollow Scavenger, Fairy Fencing, and Voracious Vermin, and they are all gone. So it's a pretty wide spread of colors being drafted. I think there's just literally nothing I want even in the slightest here. Yeah, Thunderous Debut can be cute if we get a ton of mana ramp, I guess. I don't think any of that is going to see play here. Gadwick's First Duel could. We get a Cursed Roll no matter what, and if we have a solid instant or sorcery to play on Chapter 3, we can like double removal spell with Flick a Coin or something. So we'll take the First Duel. Pick 11, just take a Candy. Well, this might be an okay Catapult deck. And Candy Trail is pretty extremely filler. Alright, pack 3. Can we open a bunch of goodies? We can open a Torch the Tower for really efficient removal, which is going to be a premium pickup here. Yeah, can't really pivot onto black at this point for that rare. Collector's Vault would actually be pretty useful to this deck. But I don't think it can just beat the raw efficiency of Torch the Tower style removal. Yeah, take this, hope to wheel Collector's Vault or Spell Stutter as the best pickups, but Charade maybe being okay. Pack 3, pick 2, we get another Balluna's Gatekeeper. That is a massive pickup. This works as 2-mana interaction, bouncing one of our opponent's threats, and a big finisher, just a 6-mana 6/5 late in the game. Exactly what you want in these slower decks. That is pretty easily the pick. It's not Candy Grapple unless we have a million treasures, and I've got a few, but not enough to try to do that. We're not green-black. I don't think the balloon is actually that good, so take the Gatekeeper. Pack 3, pick 3. Pretty awkward. I think I just take a Scarecrow Guide with how this deck looks. Virtue of Knowledge is really narrow and incredibly slow. Monstrous Rage is very powerful if you're aggressive, but this deck is not. I've got 2-mana 2/2s, 2 3-mana creatures that can attack. I have 4 creatures that can attack. That costs 3 or less. It's just not enough to go wild with the Monstrous Rage here. Let's get the Scarecrow Guide. Well, we can definitely take a Scalding Viper, even if we aren't that aggressive. Just a bounce spell and the 2-mana 2/1 all in one, which is great. 2-for-1 piece of value there. Speaking of things that are great for this deck, Hearth Elemental is going to be big card draw, as well as a potentially really cheap 4/5 once we're out of stuff to do in our hand. I would like some of these spell stutters, but we're crossing our fingers hoping we can wheel 1 or 2 of those. Get another Gatekeeper here over a second Ice Out. I think that's pretty reasonable to me. Now a Diminisher Witch over pretty much nothing. Ice Out versus Into the Fey Court. The way this deck looks, got a couple Disdainful Strokes in the side. If I need to side into a bunch of Ice Outs, I can do that. I think I'm gonna, well, actually I will take Ice Out over another Into the Fey Court, because we also have Hearth Elemental being big card draw, Johan being sort of a card draw engine, and a lot of Adventures to be 2-for-1s. So I'll take the Ice Out there. I'll definitely take Spell Stutter. Now I kind of wish I took the last Into the Fey Court, because I think I'd rather be on 1 Spell Stutter, 1 Ice Out, 2 Into the Fey Court, than 1 Spell Stutter, 2 Ice Out, 1 Into the Fey Court. But I still really want the Spell Stutter. I want to have a potential 2-mana counterspell without needing bargain fodder to use it. I think I still take Mocking Sprite, even though I really don't like the 1 toughness on that card. Wow, get 1,000,000 copies? Maybe we actually take 1 Water Wings? Didn't take 1 yet, did I? No, I've got 0 Water Wings. Let's take 1. It's another sideboard option. Okay, well, now I really, really wish I took a second Into the Fey Court, because we get literal last pick Ice Out. That's super duper awkward. Well, this draft did not go perfectly. I would say it definitely didn't go terribly. We've certainly got a strong deck here, but I don't think I did anything massively unreasonable. We recognized that 4 out of the 7 other drafters at the table took a red card out of our pack 1, pick 1. And maybe overanalyzed that, because as I said when I opened the pack, the red cards were a bit better than everything else, generally. I got a little too sketched out by that possibility of there just being 4 other drafters in red, because even after that, we still saw a decent amount of red later. It dried up for the rest of pack 1, but then it showed up, it trickled in throughout pack 2 and pack 3. There were enough red playables that if we just stuck hard to it, with the Realm Scorcher took a cut in pack 2, pick 2, we would be in a better position here. Rather than the toying around with other potential colors. Awkward stuff, weird stuff. I mean, we kind of got shoved onto the blue train here. I think that was going to happen regardless. But if we had locked in on blue-red sooner, just stuck to the red, we'd be in a better position here for sure. Okay. Not an unreasonable draft. 47 cards right now. Definitely don't want triple Ice Out. Probably not main decking the Disdainful Strokes. Or the Water Wings. Yeah, I really wish I took that cut in early pack 2. Rather than ditching red that soon. That would have been a massive addition to this deck, even though we're not that aggressive, just 4 mana deal 4 to something. Having something that can shoot and permanently kill a bigger creature would be kind of a big deal. Alright, Lectern's going to start in the sideboard. I honestly really hate the 1 toughness on the Mocking Sprites. I don't know if we're even using Prophetic Prism at this point. I guess we splash in an Agatha's Champion. Off Treasures, Edgewallin, and Prism. But splashing in Gingerbread for black-green is going to be pretty difficult. This Flick a Coin is in the deck, it's just asking me if I want to change the style there. We only have the 1. Yeah, let's put in the Champion. We only have 2 treasure tokens, but we have 2 treasure tokens, 1 Scarecrow Guide, 1 Edgewallin. So 1 Scarecrow Guide, Edgewallin, and Forest is 3 green sources for the single green splash, which is about where you want to be generally. So do that. For the splash, although we probably just play the Prophetic Prism as well, that puts us up to Scarecrow Guide, Prism, Forest, Edgewallin for the champion splash, and we get the potential combo of using the Prism to cast the champion and then sacking the Prism to its bargain, which is pretty cute. All right, let's cut the Disdainful Strokes. Let's cut the Lectern. And with Stutters and Ice Outs, let's cut the Water Wings too. Drop down to maybe just 2 Ice Out maximum here. I honestly don't think Gadwick's first duel is looking particularly good either because of our lack of actual just burn removal spells. So the amount of instants and sorceries we can cast with mana value 3 or less and copy is not super high. I guess when you count our adventures, I think first duel's probably still worth it because just doubling up an entry denied, doubling up a steam clean is actually pretty good, bouncing 2 things once this thing triggers. So sure, let's actually keep the first duel in. I think that should be reasonable. So 3 cuts still. Maybe just a little aggro package like the Grand Balghest, the Boundary Lands Ranger with like 3 4-power creatures. Do I hate the 1 toughness on the Mocking Sprites enough to just cut both of those maybe and run one of these 2-drops over them? I think I'm just going to cut these 3 for the starting build. Do like that. Although I don't hate the idea of just cutting the last Mocking Sprite for like another Ice Out. Just going really overboard on counters. And then our game plan here is like, whatever they resolve that we can kill with a Torch or Flick a Coin when we have it, we will. And then whatever we can't, we just bounce with 3 Gatekeepers and a Steam Clean, and then counter later. Might be an okay plan. Yeah, we'll start with the Mocking Sprites in the sideboard. If we're in a matchup where they don't have great defenses for flyers, we can throw them in, or we don't see like Flick a Coins and Rat Outs and stuff. But I think just starting those main deck and running into those kind of cards can be really rough. Okay, I thought I already favorited the non-parallax style version. I did, but Arena doesn't care, so never mind. I remember I said, ooh, they made it so you can favorite your card styles, and it works. No, they did that, but it doesn't work right. So that's cool. Yeah, I think this is what we are stuck with today. I think it's pretty fine here. It's perfectly reasonable. Against the aggro decks, we just bounce all their stuff, keep them slowed down long enough to start jamming out a bunch of 6/5s, 4/5s, 4/6s, and just take over the game there. Might be a pretty reasonable matchup if they don't have a really streamlined aggro deck and they're just playing your general mediocre aggro to mid-range pile. Don't have like a ton. Well, no, we've got a lot of counter spells, I guess, for late game interaction against big creatures too. So bounce all the small creatures, counter all the big ones. It's going to be hard to have the counter spells up at the right time. We're going to have to play super, super diligently, but if everything pans out well, we do have answers to basically any kind of deck if we draw our answers in the right orders. The problem is if we play against a hyper aggro deck and draw nothing but Spell Stutters and Ice Outs, or we play against like a big green ramp deck and draw nothing but like our Balloonist Gatekeepers that bounce the little things and our Torch the Towers that shoot the little things. So Definitely going to be some variance in this deck where half our deck works really well against slow decks, the other half works really well against quick decks. But I think we ended up in a reasonable spot here. Again, it could certainly have been better. The one thing that I really remember that I'm missing out on here is a cut-in. And maybe if I just jumped on blue even sooner, we could have had a little bit better spells in the blue half of the deck as well. But I think the main thing is that we're missing that cut-in that we passed out on early pack 2. And we definitely passed another 1 or 2 solid red cards early in pack 2 before we hopped back on the train. I don't think there was anything late pack 1 in red. I think it all just disappeared at that point. But pack 2, it took us, I think, too long to get back on the red train. But c'est la vie. Alright, here we have a final look at today's deck list. We're on another blue-red kind of grindy control deck. Just a little bit of cheap burn this time with Torch the Tower and Flick a Coin, but a lot of late-game counterspells with some Ice Outs and Spell Stutters. And the other way that we're dealing with small threats that did resolve before we got our counterspells up is to bounce them with a bunch of Entry Denied adventures and Steam Clean as an adventure. So lots of ways to slow down the more aggressive decks and hopefully take over in the late game with bigger creatures like 6/5s, 4/4s, 4/5s, stuff like that. And for the slower, grindier decks, hopefully just having a ton of counterspells for their big threats when they try to resolve them is enough to win those matchups. But certainly got our fingers crossed a little bit here to try to draw the right kind of spells at the right kind of times. But overall, looks like a pretty decent deck for today. Without further ado, let's head into the gameplay and see how it does. Here we are for game 1 on the play. Unfortunately, this is not keepable on the play. We don't draw a card on the first turn. We need to hit at least 2 lands to be happy here. 1 land means we can cast the Guide and the Gatekeeper's Entry Denied adventure. But we're in a really, really bad spot if we don't draw 2 additional lands. Mainly in like the next 2 draw steps. I mean, it's gotta just be a mulligan here. Okay. This is a little bit high on mana, kind of the alternate issue, but certainly not a hand that is worth mulliganing to 5. Maybe I should have even ditched the forest there, so I potentially don't have to spend a treasure to cast my double red spell. And we can just have that treasure sitting around, so if I draw a green spell, I can use the treasure on that. I think it would have been reasonable. So we're playing against a black deck here. Black-red it's gonna be. One of the best archetypes in the format, the black-red rats kind of deck. Hit a Gatekeeper here, but I don't really feel the need to bounce a 1-power creature, so let's just drop the red cap thief and pass. Get the treasure at the ready. They're going to send in the Baronati. They will not be buffing it. They will cast a Grand Ball Guest, so definitely an aggressive deck over there. 2/5 bodies should theoretically be large enough to hold that Grand Ball Guest off. If they have removal good enough to kill a 2/5, they can just kill it and attack through if I attack with my Thief, and I think our hand's really nice at clearing out the late game, but with a big haster, getting a little bit of extra damage is tempting as well. I think we have enough interaction here to push in for some damage. And not worry too much about the counterattack. I've got a torch if something super, super nasty happens too. We know we're drawing an island next turn. Okay, so they're going to clear out Johan and just hit me for 3. I think that's super fine. Then we just play a Hellkite and jam in for 6. Yeah, let's race here. Let's absolutely race here. Take 3 damage and then hit them for 6. We're really winning that race. No bargain, unfortunately, but still worth it to get this thing on the board right now. While they're tapped out. They're down to 12. Send in for 3. Cast a Sweet Tooth Witch. Okay. Can drop a 6/5 Balluna's Gatekeeper. Or I can Entry Denied. Or I can just hold up a ping. They've got a food token with that Sweet Tooth Witch. If they can't trigger Celebration here, I can torch the Sweet Tooth Witch and block their 2/2 with a 2/3. And then we can keep the entry denied to bounce the flyer. Can also just play a 6/5. Might be worth just playing a 6/5 here, honestly. Even though it means no bounce on the Barrow Naughty. But it means no bounce on anything. Which is kind of a big deal. So they have 2 cards in their hand. They're at 8, but they're at 11 if they eat the food. If I don't need to torch the tower something during their turn, I can shoot them down to 7/10 with the Hellkite. Then bounce attack and shoot them down to 2/5. Just not getting there. Not quite. I think I'm just going to hold up interaction here, and I'm actually just going to entry denied right now. To guaranteed slow them down. Alright, get a treasure from a Grabby Giant. The main thing here is me really wanting to hold up the torch the tower, and that's why we did the entry denied as well. Because I can't just jam out the 6/5 Gatekeeper and hold up the torch the tower. But I can entry denied and do the torch the tower. Alright, there's the Grabby Giant. Okay, I need to find bargain fodder if I'm trying to clear the Grabby Giant out of the way. I think I do hold on to the torch here and see what we draw. So shoot the face here. Spell Stutter. That's not good at all right now. They have 7 mana. They'd have to cast a 6 mana spell for us to do anything with that. That's a very, very bad draw. We do kind of force a chump here, because they don't know if we have another mountain in our hand. Well, I guess even if we do, we hit for 6, not 7. Shoot. I think I still threaten this attack here. Wow. Alright. Insta no block from our opponent. Not what we wanted to see at all. 12, which can hit me for another 2. Got the torch the tower. I think I hold up torch the tower stutter, because they know we have the Gatekeeper, so if they're going to not block there, they're trying to get a lethal that beats me through Gatekeeper. Ooh, dig. I like that a lot, because it soaks up enough of their mana that Spell Stutter might actually matter. So they actually did not have lethal in hand, I'm guessing. Or they would have just cast it with as much mana up as possible. So they have to dig to find the lethal counterattack here. And if they don't find it, they'll have to hold back a Naughty or a Grabby Giant. And they're just going to pass the turn. Fair. Well, we shoot the face. Find an Ice Out that can actually legitimately counter anything, even at this point. The issue here is that I didn't draw another red source, so I can't attack with Hellkite anymore. Or they can double block and kill it, because they can buff the Barrow Naughty once. If I had drawn 2 mountains this game, I could attack with the Hellkite here. Because I can torch plus shoot for 1. So I guess I'm holding up Ice Out Spell Stutter and just shooting the face with Hellkite, sitting behind these blockers. If I had like 1 more mana, I'd probably go Gatekeeper, hold up Torch. I don't think I can afford to hold up 0 interaction and just tap out. I Spell Stutter this. They have 2 mana up afterwards. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I Spell Stutter this. And then let them pay for it and try to go for the full attack. And then we torch the tower with an Ice Out if they try to save something from the torch. So now they're going to tap out and try to kill us here. And then we kill them on the crackback, because surprise, they don't have lethal. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is not lethal. And I have the Ice Out if they're doing something other than throwing the food at us. They can eat the food, but they're at 5 and we hit for 6 on the crackback. Spell Stutter actually super relevant here to get them to soak up 2 of their mana. So we know they can't have any other tricks involved other than just throwing the food. Yeah, and Spell Stutter also lets us get them to the point where they have to tap out most of their mana and send in the whole board and just try to go for that lethal regardless. When we still have an Ice Out up if they had another spell, so that went really, really well in the end. Really stressful game. I have no idea I played that out correctly, but we did get there in the end. And I think I'm going to be saying that a lot in all these games, win or lose. No idea with these blue-red control decks. It's the same as what happened in the Arena Open Day 1. I think this was where we're supposed to be in this draft pod, but I just don't think I'm the player that can pilot this deck to its best. So they're a black-red aggro deck. They've got like a Taken by Nightmares. I've got tons of counter spells for removal, so I don't think I'm putting in the Witch thing. Or the Water Wings thing just for another hexproof trick. I think I'm just running flat counters. And honestly, I think our main deck's already good against theirs. I love the Gatekeepers in this match. The Viper seems great. The Flick a Coin looked fine, right? It had a target. I guess there was no Flick a Coin target, but it still gives us a treasure. Draws us a card, pings anything. It's still important. I don't think there was anything that looked bad in this matchup, honestly. Maybe our cursed rolls are not that appealing. But even cursing a Grabby Giant's pretty good. So we saw something there. Cursing a Bellowing Bruiser is fine. No, I'm pretty happy with everything that we have in this match, and I don't think they had enough high mana value stuff to run Disdainful Stroke over other cards. We saw 2, I guess we saw 3 4 mana and up spells. I think I'm still running the Stutters though. Yeah, run it back, head into game 2. Well, there's the Hellkite again. We've got the late game plan. We can Bitter Chill the early threat, and hopefully a Catapult can keep us alive. With that 0/4 body to block some stuff. I mean, we've really got the late game with a Hellkite, so let's trade aggressively here early. Play a Scarecrow Guide, so if they don't have the Sweet Tooth Witch turn 3 to trigger Celebration, we just trade immediately. Yeah, so they just play an Impact Tremors and pass the turn. Drop a 0/4 body now and pass. multiple ways to use my mana next turn, even if I don't have 4 mana. I guess if I play the Edgewall in now, though, I could play 2 2-drops next turn, which would be kind of nice. We just play like a Prism now, and then we go Entry Denied and Bitter Chill next turn. I think I'd rather just play Catapult now and then one of these spells the turn after, though. Just get the blockers down. Boundary Lands Ranger, shoot me for 1. Picnic Ruiner, shoot me for 1. But that's it. There's an Ice Out, which, thanks to Scarecrow God, I am holding up here. But I can't hold that up and cast anything else. I guess I can play Prism, and then if they play something super bad, I can sack Prism? Well, no, because I am playing a tap land this turn. Yeah, I guess since I'm playing a tap land this turn, I can't play anything other than just holding up Ice Out, but I think that's fine. Well, I guess these are both artifacts, so I would always have the if it's super bad backup plan. Wait, no, what? Alright, my brain is short-circuiting here. I don't know why I think I have a 1 mana spell. I still need 2, even if I bargain. 2 mana. Okay. Well, we're going to kill the card that can potentially get double strike and block the card that might be hitting for 3. Alright, take 2. There's a Barrow Naughty. I think I allow that. Got entry denied for that thing. Okay, 5th mana is wonderful. Because now I can hold up the Ice Out and cast something this turn. I don't love entry denied against the Impact Tremors. But I still think I would like to save Bitter Chill in case something better comes down the line. Down to 13. Down to 12. Another entry denied here. Really gotta find land 6. Really gotta find land 6 here. I think to the point I'm actually gonna Prism. And it's not land 6. If I Bitter Chill, I am not holding up Ice Out this turn. Taking 5 damage if I don't Bitter Chill, though. I guess I'll still have the entry denied. Really needed land 6 here. Yeah. I'm guessing they were never going to cast that unless I didn't have double blue up. That's probably just game. The alternative was to just take 5 here. Wow. Tabby, so they get a 1/1 even if I kill their rat. And still don't find land 6. God dang it. Maybe we should put an 18th land in here. Because this game would have been vastly different if we just hit lands on curve every turn. Yeah, I don't think we could have possibly lost if I just had a 6th land last turn. To have the ice out for the Sewer Witch, while also interacting with the Barrow Naughty. But I could definitely see myself still losing almost 100% of the time if I just hold up the ice out and don't interact with Barrow Naughty there, because then, again, they just hit me for 5. I guess I just interact with the Barrow Naughty and don't play the Prism. That's the right line there. Take 2, hold up the ice out. Yeah. Only way we had a shot here. Red Cap Thief is kind of, sort of, land number 6. In a way. Block. Block. Well, block. Block, take 1, 2. Might not be completely over still. I should probably still have bounced the rat, even though they get a replacement rat out of it. But I don't know. I like bouncing this because it reduces the number of attackers instead of just turning a 2/2 into a 1/1 like bouncing the rat would do there. I guess it's same damage either way. Go to 3. Top deck not dead after all. And now they get a Wicked roll. Good draw. Hit me in again with the Impact Tremors too. That is a good draw. If I Hellkite and bargain away Prism, I have 5 mana up, which is enough to shoot twice. I'll have 3 blockers. Kill that. The Wicked rolls just kill me. I guess not quite. Because I can make sure not to kill the cards that have Wicked rolls on them. So we kill the Sewer Witch. Kill the Sewer Witch, bounce off the rat, chump the Boundary Lands Ranger, go to 1. If they top deck a creature, I'm dead. But if they don't, maybe I can somehow lethal them next turn on a counterattack, and that's our best bet. Okay, if they draw literally a basic land here, we might still be able to win this game. Because then I guess I'll also have Ice Out up on their next draw. So only gives itself the Death Touch, okay. Well, looks like we're taking 0 on the attacks here. Did they top deck another not dead after all, though, for the Sewer Witch? That would be the nuts here. not killing the rat, just trumping so that if they did top deck a creature, we don't insta-die. They top decked a creature, so the right play, for sure. Correct play is correct. But now we still lose. Yeah, they had to just hit a basic there. We would have won if they did. Because then without... Well, no. I don't actually think we can lethal here. We maybe would have won if they did. I guess I still have the Hearth Elemental to see if we can find a small enough creature to keep this going. But I currently don't have a creature that can block Boundary Lands Ranger without killing it. Entry denied does not work either. Because the Wicked Roll goes to the grave. I can triple ping the Grabby Giant here and die to a Wicked Roll. So close still somehow. Because with Hellkite's ability, like, one attack is going to hit them for 10 on the swing, because 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I guess 8 on the swing. So yeah, it's still just like a turn or two off, potentially. But the rolls are wicked. And we super die to them. Game 3 on the play. See if we can change this around. Alright, that was a rough one, because I think it was definitely winnable. If we got slightly luckier hitting our lands sooner, or if they missed on that final draw, or most importantly, if I had not played Prism, if I just earlier went for the Bitter Chill. I just held on to the Prism there, just played nothing but interaction even when I was stuck on mana there. That would have been big, but I went for that greed play of playing the Prism and just hoping to top deck the next land, and that was definitely not right. Still think we have basically the exact list we want here. Yeah. Run it back for the final game of round 1. Alright, here we are for game 3 with an unkeepable hand, baby! Love to see it. Mulligan to 6 it is, and this is much better. Get rid of the Prism since we have a Scarecrow Guide that actually impacts the board. And all the colors for what we have in the current hand. Find a Catapult if we find land 3. There's the Impact Tremors. 3 for 3. Find a Spell Stutter. Well, nothing to play but hold up Spell Stutter anyway, so I guess there we go. And they're just going to pass turn. Ooh, these are bad draws for game 3. That is pretty gross with Impact Tremors. We're going to counter that for sure. Tattered Ratter, just a 2/2. Do hit land 3 now. So I'll be dropping a Catapult. Okay, wide board state for our opponent. But you know what that means? That means that our Gadwig's first duel will get to do the the double up of the entry denied later, if we go for that. Yeah, no attacks here. This only triggers on instants and sorceries, right? Yes. So let's just make a Picnic Ruiner a 1/1, get our Scry 2 next turn and go from there. Scry does some lands for the Agatha's Champion, probably. Disgusting. Cut in for the Catapult and buff up the Baronati in the sky. Still, if I lose the Scarecrow Guide, I don't have Champion anymore. I still think I need to preserve life total pretty heavily here. Taking 3 on board. They have 5 power plus impact tremors, and I'm at 17. Go to 14 if I take this all. I'm gonna take the trade here. Get the Scry. Land. I hate that that's after my draw that I get the Scry. Actually kind of gross. Well, I think I still take land here. Now I play a 3/2 to threaten to trade into the Tattered Ratter, and next turn I can entry denied 2 creatures and Bitter Chill in the same turn. Lord Skitter's Butcher's gonna get a rat token probably. Yep. Next turn we're going to draw cards off Hearth Elementals, so I think I do cast this Bitter Chill just right now. Slow them down. The alternate play is to just hold on to it and next turn just tap out to Bitter Chill the Flyer and discard cards to the Hearth Elemental. But I'm going to get mana efficient here and cast whatever I draw into. It looks like probably the right play, because we got to find something to get through this Sewer Witch. Alright, well, we're pretty dead. I don't think there was anything we could do game 3. It was all up to that game 2, the greedy use of Prophetic Prism there. Obviously, I also could have just gotten luckier and just hit mana when I needed it, but there were things that were definitely in our control that we could have done to last just a little bit longer that game and find a victory in game 2, so that's what we should focus on and try to do better in the future here. Just go for the guaranteed lines rather than gambling off the top of the deck, trying to dig for lands off that prism. Sad stuff. 1-2 in what could have been a 2-1 in round 1. Again, I don't think I played egregiously horribly here. I think it's mainly just that our draws lined up in a way where we would have had to play incredibly tight to win that game, but had we done so, we could have definitely played better and won the game, so bummer for round 1. Here we are on the play for round 2. With the keep here. Bitter Chill for their first threat, Diminisher Witch to trade off into something. Actually, more likely just trade with Diminisher Witch on their first threat. playing against another red-black aggro deck with turn 2 Goblin Bombardment. Yikes. I don't know where people find the draft pods to be able to draft the best decks in format during an Arena Open draft. Red was open enough, but all of the aggressive red cards were getting scooped up. It's just we could have grabbed some of the more slower red burn spells and stuff in our pod. And our opponent with turn 1 Spearguard into turn 2 Goblin Bombardment. Well, show me the rat out or the flicker coin here, I suppose. I guess they could also just trade the rat token after a Goblin Bombardment into this. Alright. They go for the rat catch. They didn't need to do that, though, because they could have just sacked the rat off the Spearguard and still played this at instant speed during our end steps, so... Interesting timing from our opponent, but I guess it all works out the same if they didn't have any other instants in their hand anyway. Got enough blue and red sources here to just drop the Edgewall in on green. Yep, that's an Edgewall pack. Super premium common. Edgewall pack, Ratcatcher trainee, and Harried Spearguard. Part of the dream team for sure. Yeah, I mean, they're just curving out on us. Spearguard into Bombardment, into trainee, into pack. They have used every single mana, every single turn. I actually have to chill the Edgewall pack and slow down their damage, since I know I'm playing a Realm Scorcher Hellkite next turn anyway. Yep. Bitter Chill, just a straight up 1-for-1 removal spell, since they sack the Edgewall pack to the Bombardment. Take 3 from the rats. And they pass. They have another pest problem with Ratcatcher trainee here. 1 toughness cards are horrific against Goblin Bombardment. So we might have to side some out just in case they draw Goblin Bombardment in game 2 again. They need 6 creatures on board to kill Realm Scorcher Hellkite with pings. I think I just slam it down and pass the turn here. Okay, they have 2 Ratcatcher trainees, so they can kill it with 6 pings. Still have more cards here. I mean, obviously I block, because this is the exact same as not blocking, except I stop a damage to me, because they can just sack the rat and do 1 damage to Hellkite anyway. So because they can just shoot the Hellkite for 1 regardless. Candy Grapple 2? What? Wow. Well, alright then, I guess. This is like a day 1 of the format kind of deck from our opponent here. The quality is insane. I don't even know if Scarecrow Guide Champion works, because I think they get an opportunity to kill it before we can bargain it. They do not. We do get to bargain it. But then you can just throw 2 rats at champion, but if they do that, we're still clearing out a lot of their board. So, still go for it here. Okay, they're just going to shoot face with the Bombardment. There's a Witch's Mark. We're looking incredibly dead to Bombardment. I don't think we're going to win any game where they resolve a Bombardment. Card is insane in rat decks, turning every single rat into 1 damage at instant speed wherever you need it, and that's in addition to all the damage it's getting by just attacking us. Yeah, I mean, I'm just straight dead. If I block here, they sack this rat and deal 2 to me because one from the Wicked and one from Bombardment. So I take 1, 2, 3, 4. I go to 3 life, then they shoot me with both these rats, play a rat catcher, and shoot me to 0. If I block here, I take 3, 4, because this one shoots me, and then they just sack the other 2 and I'm dead. It doesn't matter, I just died to Bombardment. Yeah, Bombardment is kind of just unbeatable in a rat deck. I don't even think this is like an inherent flaw of our deck or anything, and it's definitely not anything we can play around this game. This is insane. They have the Bombardment and the Lord Skitter's Butcher, double Ratcatcher Trainee, Edgewall Pack, Harried Spear Guard, Candy Grapple, Rat Out. Literally the laundry list, the full team in one of the strongest archetypes. This is not a matchup for us. I don't think this is a matchup for any deck we could have ended up in our draft pod. This is really, really bad. So let's cut the Scarecrow Guide. Scalding Viper's Adventure is still really valuable. Is there anything really to do here? I think the Gatekeepers are actually pretty good because they can fully kill rats when they don't have Bombardment. We don't have anything in our deck that can clear a Bombardment off the board. I guess I just played like a 2-2 over a Scarecrow Guide, throwing a Boundary Lands Ranger here, something. Maybe a 0-4, but I think actually having some power to clear out 1-1 rats is solid. So we'll play that 2-2, and actually their deck's aggressive enough. We'll play a Ballgast over an Ice Out as well. We're definitely not putting in 1 Toughness Walking Sprites. They have Goblin Bombardment and a Rat Out. Okay, I think this is where we want to be here. Maybe even play a Lectern over one of the Ice Outs as well. Again, because the super low curve. Yep, let's go Lectern over an Ice Out as well. Call it a deck there. I don't love the hand, but it is a keep. Turn 1 Gingerbrute. Wonder if our opponent will miss on spending a single mana this game. I don't think I want to entry deny a 1-1 with haste. One drop turn 1, 2 drop turn 2. Opponent has spent every mana available so far. Here's the Catapult. Then I can Gatekeeper hold up Ice Out by sacking Catapult if there's something really, really nasty next turn. Conceited Witch for a Wicked roll onto the Grand Ballgast, threatening to put a permanent out at instant speed. Maybe like a Rat Out here. Okay, blocked Gingerbrute then, and then we're going to entry denied the Grand Ballgast. They could have a Candy Grapple as well on the Catapult as the play for the turn. And they're just going to do nothing there. Ooh, Spell Stutter's such a good draw. Let's put the Grand Ballgast back in their hand, get rid of its Wicked roll. And pass, holding up Catapult. Get a food off a Gumdrop Poisoner. That's a no-no. That card is a Mega Bomb. Well, not really a bomb per se, but it's a removal spell and a threat all in one, which is always pretty nuts. Their deck is so good. It's wild. Got a Gumdrop Poisoner on top of their very, very incredible synergistic curve. And their Goblin Bombardment for the other board wipe. Are we going to get Candy Grappled this time? we are finally going to get candy grappled. Find a torch the tower. For the Grand Ball Guest, I can torch and hold up an ice out. Play the Into the Fey Court. I'm holding up no interaction right now. I think this is actually pretty reasonable. 5 mana for our opponent. Drop the Conceited Witch, that's fine. Let's go for the Torch on the Ball Guest. Although I suppose the Ginger Brute could be unblockable, but it's 1 damage every turn versus the 2. Hey there, 6-drop. Well, now I can hold up an ice out and do nothing, or I can draw 3. If I hold up ice out, I don't do anything unless they cast a spell. And they're not going to cast their best spell in hand when I just pass turn with 5 mana up. So counter their second best spell or draw 3 and then get got by their best spell are our 2 options, which is a rock and a hard place. They're not good options. With the Realm Scorcher at 6 mana, I think I just draw and confirm we hit the 6th land here. Barely confirm we hit it, but we do. And there's a rat out on the 1/1. Take 4, down to 9. Okay, so I have the Realm Scorcher to kill the Ginger Brute, but I think I want to get the Red Cap Thief down this turn so we have a treasure token to bargain. So that the second that I play the Hellkite, I can kill all the 1/1 cards. So, I don't think I entry denied a Conceited Witch, though, because then they put a Wicked roll on something. I guess I can just... I don't know. If I Red Cap Thief and entry denied, I don't get to hold up ice out. So I could just play a Red Cap Thief and pass, but I'm at 9 here, so it's a bit sketch. I think I still do it. Unblockable Ginger Brute. Okay, we'll ice out a Minecart Daredevil. That's a good enough spell to counter. It would kill my Red Cap Thief and get a 4/2 onto their board. Down to 6. But now... now I can kill the Ginger Brutes and put the Conceited Witch in their hand. If they respond to this, I can reactivate it a second time. If they don't respond, then we'll put the Conceited Witch back in their hand. Six life? How much do I play around haste here? I don't think it's 6 life I play around haste that much. There's a rat out to get a 1/1 rat so they can put a roll on it and hit us for 2, but they are playing off the top now. And it's a Sewer Witch on top. Well, that's bad. At 12 life, they die. to 2 swings of Hellkite if I spend 4 and shoot them for 2 each time, but I'm at 4 life, so I can't do that. I can't shoot them twice this turn. I need to play another blocker to not die. But if they don't top deck again, if they miss and they just play some sorcery speed creature or some summoning sick creature, then I can chump the Sewer Witch and trade a 2/2 Boundary Lands Ranger into a 2/2 rat or something. Or I guess chump the Sewer Witch with my 2/2 Ranger and kill a rat, go to 1 life. So I think that's probably the play. We play the Ranger, discard the Johann, trying to find another mountain, because if I find another mountain, then I can hit them for 6 this turn and 6 next attack and kill them. Find a mountain, so I think I go for it. Because if they don't hit a haste creature or a removal spell here, then they die. I could also hold back here and accept that I'm going to 1 off of these wicked rolls. But then I'd be going to 1 off of the wicked rolls and not having a 2-turn kill on board. Oh, thank the sweet Lord for Spell Stutter. With exactly enough mana. Go to 1 life it is. Oh, shoot. Oh no, I can still kill them with Hellkite. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I can triple shoot next turn. Wait, no. I can't kill them with Hellkite. I'm 1 mana off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, if I top deck a land, I can kill them. Wait, no, I keep my Red Cap Thief. I'm an idiot. Disregard everything I said. I'm keeping Red Cap Thief on board. But I can't kill them with Hellkite single-handedly anymore because I had to spend mana on the Spell Stutter. Oh my god, okay, so we found a victory in this round. That's already a moral victory for me, but obviously, if I lose this round, we're out of the running for draft number 2, so we gotta try real hard to win this round. They do have a Sewer Witch and a Shatter for big 5-drops, but again, their curve is so low. I still think I prefer Spell Stutters to Disdainful Strokes, and I don't think I can really run more counter spells than I have right now in a matchup this aggressive. Got a lot of rat outs over there. Maybe Water Wings is actually decent here. Water Wings over Gadwick's first duel, because there are few creatures that cursing does a significant amount of work to, as their board's mainly just a ton of 1/1s. Might be fine. We'll try Water Wings over first duel and run it back for game 3. Alright. Ballgast to trade off, entry denied to slow them down, Johann to be a card engine to take over the game. Our opponent has a rat out in hand. Some kind of 1-mana spell. Oh god, it's the Gumdrop Poisoner. Good card. Find a Scalding Viper. Alright. Nothing on their board, so we just slam down the Grand Ballgast for now. Turn 5, they get to gain 3 and then give something -3/-3 when they play this thing. It's pretty gross. Pest Problem. Mana efficient, play the Catapult. Turn after, we just double entry denied and kill both rats. I think that's reasonable. And I'm actually hitting for damage here. Cut in on the Catapult. It's pretty gross. Young hero roll on a rat. We're definitely bouncing that rat in particular. Do I still just bounce both rats this turn? I think so. I don't think I tap out for Johann right now. And I don't think bouncing one of these adventure creatures is going to be a good idea. So let's just bounce both rats. And even if they do play something we want to bounce, we still have a third bounce spell. And this one can be on any non-land permanent, not just a 3 mana value or less creature. The Voracious Vermin that comes with a rat and a rat catcher trainee. Got the Gumdrop Poisoner with the ability to gain 3, so they can clear out the Grand Ballgast if I don't have Water Wings up. Just entry denied a rat and hold up Water Wings. It's kind of weird. I don't really want to just play a Johann here, because if I play Johann, then they'll just attack with everybody, and I can't afford to block with Johann anyway. Because then they post-combat Gumdrop Poisoner it. That might not be the end of the world, because we'd kill a 2/1 and force them to use the Poisoner. I think entry denied Water Wing still seems fine here, though. We could roll on the Rat Catcher trainee, and that can just already attack in now. And I can't even try to block Water Wings, because then if they have Rat out in hand, that blows up in my face. They Rat out before Water Wings resolves. Actually, wait, how does this work? If they Rat out before this resolves, this still turns into a 4/4, right? Now it says base power toughness 4/4, so it'd be base power toughness 4/4 that's getting -1/-1. So it'd be a 3/3 and it would die to first strike damage, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, effects that modify its power toughness will still come into play no matter when they took effect, is what the rules say. So yeah, I can't just go for the Water Wings and get rat outed. Okay, there's Conceited Witch. And that turn went miserably. And I'm just again in one of these games where damned if we do, damned if we don't. Like if I Johann, then they could just guaranteed kill the Grand Ballgast, or they can attack with everybody and kill Johann post-combat. And if I just hold up the Water Wings, they could just not use Poisoner and attack with Trainee, and I have no good response to that. If I bounce the Rat Catcher Trainee, that's just 2 more rats for them to play. It's just not good. Yeah, so to go for the -3/-3 on Johann here. Or just hit me for 1,000,000. Oh, I think I have enough in hand to take 5 to keep Johann out guaranteed. Just that every game with the Sewer Witch, they have 2 Sewer Witches in the deck. I can Spell Stutter the Gumdrop Poisoner now, which is nice, or I can Water Wings. So we can kill the rat with the Viper, block 1 creature here, go to 4. It's the best I got. Yikes. Spear Guard off the top. Okay, one of those was in hand. Spear Guard and Ginger Brutes. We'll take 15,000 damage. I go to literally 1. Actually die to the Wicked roll if I kill the Ratcatcher trainee? Wow. I'm already pretty sure they have Rat Out, so if I block like this and they try to Rat Out Johan and we Water Wings, it's actually pretty good. I mean, I go to 1 life, so it doesn't matter, but I think that's the best block I have. Okay, and they're not even going to try to Rat Out, because I'm not killing Sewer Witch anyway. Or they might just not have Rat Out. Yeah, I go to 1 life regardless, so... don't think it matters. Pass turn. Well, they obviously have a non-gumdrop poisoner spell. There's nothing in our entire deck that changes this game at all at this point, but we're playing it out. Cool. Alright, well, it's over. There goes the Arena Open Day 2. Brutal time this time around. Round 1 was the really rough one. I don't feel that bad about round 2. I think that was just not a winnable matchup. Their deck's power level is far higher than ours. I don't think there's anything we can really do about that. They just had an excellent, excellent deck. Beautiful draft pod for them where red-black is just open. Just all the synergy pieces, a perfect curve where they're using all of their mana super efficiently. And bombs. They have Gumdrop Poisoner and Goblin Bombardment. Not a lot you can do when you're just far outclassed in deck power level. They have one of the strongest archetypes and one of the strongest builds of that archetype that I have ever seen. Beautiful, beautiful draft for our opponent in the Arena Open. I'm sure they're very happy, and I would not be surprised if they make it to Day 2 draft number 2. So that is just kind of a variance thing. Obviously, there were a lot of gameplay decisions in these rounds, but nothing that could have gotten us a victory in this matchup. I'm happy we at least won one of the games this round, but game 1 and game 3 of this round, completely unwinnable. Our deck versus theirs, our draws versus theirs. It's just how it's going to be. The part that I'm really unhappy about and super bummed about is round 1. I think we definitely could have won game 2 had we played perfectly. So we could have been 1-1 right now. So if we win round 3 and 4, then we might have made it to the Arena Open Day 2 draft number 2. Always a big bummer not to get to draft the set twice. All right, here we are for round number 3, game 1. Opponents on the play. We've got red and green. I need 1 more mana to get to Red Cap Thief, but we have the Prism to draw another card towards it. I'm going to keep this hand here. And let's go blue at this point since I top decked the mountain, so we have double blue naturally for Ice Out. Not gonna go for a green source when I have Prism and Red Cap Thief towards getting the Agatha's Champion down. Here's another red deck with turn 2 Grand Ball Guest. So just get that steam train rolling. Alright, drawn to the entry denied here to bounce the Grand Ball Guest if we need to. Red-blue mirror match here. Another Grand Ball Guest. They definitely look like the more aggressive build. Drawn to a Torch the Tower. Because we're very much a late game deck here, I think the plan is going to be to bounce 1 Grand Ball Guest and shoot the other with Torch. And I think I'm just going to Torch it right now before they have the mana up to like play an instant speed pest problem or something to trigger their celebration and buff it up in response. Alright, replay the Grand Ball Guest and just pass the turn. 4 mana now. We are 1 mana away from Agatha's Champion and into the Fey Court, and if they play something super nasty, I can ice out, sacrificing a Prophetic Prism. But if they don't play something super nasty, then we want to keep these to be able to play Champion. Cut-in's pretty gross here, but I can just follow up with Agatha's Champion and kill the Grand Ball Guest next turn anyway. So I think I let it resolve so I can keep my Ice Out and my Prism. Champion is the only green card in my deck, but if I keep Prism around, it can hit quadruple blue for me. Like multiple of these spells, but I guess the treasure token can do that too. Yeah, let's sack the Prism and keep the treasure here. Because getting an additional mana the turn that I might need fixing as well feels better than just being able to fix every turn, because very rarely do I need to be fixing here when I've already cast my green spell. Alright, there's a 2-headed hunter now. As I might just bargain the treasure to curse that at this point. You know, I don't hate the trade. I'll offer the trade here, because we've got all this card draw to stay ahead. Okay, if they don't take the trade, then I will curse that. And if they cast something significantly better, I can sack the cursed roll to ice out their next spell. So we're still sort of holding up the counter. Tenacious Tomeseeker, no bargain. Just a 3-2. And pass the turn. Double block Agatha's Champion's fine. Trade into Witch's fine. Let's just jam in. Hold up our counter spells. We hit for 7, they crack back for 4. We win that race very handedly. I mean, not by a ton, but we do win that race with ice outs in hand. This is very okay with me. I'm gonna hold out the ice out, or hold up the ice out. Matchup looks pretty solid here. They just seem like a slightly weaker blue-red deck. They've got the big late-game Archive Dragon style cards. But that's good for us. That means our counterspells just play super well. Now I can into the Fey Court. No, I need 7 mana to do that. Never mind. I was gonna say now I might be able to into the Fey Court holding up ice out. Not quite. And I don't have any bargain fodder either, so I can't Johan and hold up ice out, so I'm just gonna pass. We're winning the race. Let's keep that ice out up till I hit one more land. One more land lets us cast either of these while holding up ice out. Drawn to a spell stutter, so now I'm holding up just a spell stutter. Might be fine though. Let's get Johan down. Ooh, entry denied. On top. Got no bargain on the board right now, but I'm scared of putting that back in their hand and then them finding bargain for it. Also, if I put Daredevil back in their hand, they can ride the rails and have Tomeseeker trade up into Champion anyway, so either way I won't have attacks. So I guess I'm not getting any card draw value off Johan here, because we're not casting entry denied just yet. But that'll be pretty solid to cast when I can cast it and still hold up a counterspell alongside it, like now. Now I think it's pretty fine to cast it. Holding up an ice out and a spell stutter, well, or a spell stutter. I guess it's still got that awkward stuff where I bounce the Daredevil and they ride the rails, and then I don't really want to counter that. Maybe we into the Fey Court, but I have to top deck a land to hold up a counterspell with this. 3 cards deeper. Oh, we know there's land on top because Johan's looking at the top card. Yeah, let's do that. Since we know we're drawing into a mountain, worst case scenario, we're holding up a spell stutter. Best, we can hold up an ice out, sacking a fairy. But boom, we're holding up a spell stutter. And it's a spell stutter for 3. Not enough to counter the Ratcatcher. Definitely enough to counter Johan. It's literally just the mirror match, but I think I prefer our deck. I think we're favored in this mirror match. Okay, now I literally have 3 counter spells to hold up while casting an entry denied. So let's do it. Because now they don't have red mana up either. And they're just going to concede down to 1 life there. They're over it. All right. I think I'm running it back here. I liked our matchup quite a bit. Yeah, let's give it a second round. Alright, we gotta draw another blue source, but other than that, the hand looks pretty good. Uh-oh. Not looking to draw more double blue spells. That's the opposite of a blue source. Yeah, green source is not horrible, though. Just take 4 to 6 damage? Or do I entry denied to slow them down? I think I slow them down rather than playing the catapult. The catapult doesn't even block this thing. There's an Imidane, 4/4. Ooh, and there's a Cursed Roll to put onto the Imidane. And worst case scenario, I can bargain away the Gadwick's First Duel now. Even if I'm not trying to duplicate instants and sorceries. Poke me for 1. Hold all of their mana up. Super suspicious. Well, now I can drop a catapult and hold up an ice out. Bargaining away the Gadwick's First Duel if I need to cast it. Don't really want to just jam out an Agatha's Champion against a 4 open mana from a blue-red deck. I don't hate getting my catapult iced out here. I think that's fine. I've got other threats. I've got a 4/4 trample and a 6/5 coming up to just attack normally. Alright, no more spells, so First Duel says goodbye. And we just jam out a 6/5. Get a treasure off a Grabby Giant. If they want to spend their Imidane and a combat trick, that's fine. They are going to do that. It is an adventure combat trick, so they're not really down a card, but I don't hate that interaction at all. Okay, deck. Literally any creature they play is actually a big deal because of that battle garb now. Even a 2/2 they can suit up into being a 4/2 to trade into the Agatha's Champion. We have no cards to bargain for any of these 4. Alright, this is where things get super awkward and we need to draw into something else. I should have iced out. I don't know why. I'm playing pretty sloppy here, since the games don't matter anymore. Just clicking too fast. Okay, so we should have just taken 2 damage that turn. That was definitely an iced out target, and then just 4 damage this turn instead of 6. Bitter Chill is not even good here. But I guess I can bargain it to Agatha's Champion. So Chill plus Champion. If I just play a Bitter Chill on Grand Balgus, they just move the Battle Garb and we die. If I play a Chill and then have Agatha's Champion fight a Ratcatcher and then they don't have removal, then we can have Agatha's Champion trade into whatever has the Battle Garb on it and we live another turn. Okay. Well, I still think our matchup is really good, but I played that out pretty sloppy. I think it'd still be a loss in the end. With just counterspells in the hand at that point still. We just die a couple turns slower. So it really depends on what our next 2 draws there were. But that was a really sloppy game. Alright, this is an easy win hand. Probably just no-brain it with this hand too. You can definitely tell that I get magicked out by Arena Open super fast, because as soon as there's nothing on the line anymore, as soon as we can't make it into draft number 2, I just immediately play fast and loose, because I just can't be bothered. I'm gonna ice out a 3-drop? I don't think so. Let's just get a 3-2 down. Interesting. Playing the untap land so I can torch and ice out if I need to. I'm just gonna do pest problem here. I don't think I actually ice out a pest problem. Grabby Giant I might. I have no bargain fodder to clear out a 4-3 with my torch the tower. And the treasure could matter too. Yeah, let's ice this out. Chancellor of Tales. Well, we gotta find that bargain fodder to kill that thing. That's gonna be a big issue if we don't. Okay, Edgewall can pick up our Scalding Viper later, which is nice. Spell Stutter the Song of Totentans. Take our 2 damage. See what we draw. I don't hate bouncing the Chancellor, so if they have any adventures, they don't duplicate them next turn, and they just spend the turn recasting a 2/3. I don't think that's a horrific use of my mana if I just flood out here like I have. Yep, replay Chancellor. More mana for us. Not what we want to see at all. That is land number 8. Opponent takes the damage. Let's drop the Scalding Viper and pass. Land for our opponent. Pass the turn. Land number 9 for us. 9 lands and 5 spells is pretty bad. But our opponent's not doing much better, it looks like. Problem is, if they have any adventures, that's immediately going to make up for that. Twofold because of the Chancellor. Okay. Ice out for a counterspell here. So they will trade the land into the Diminisher Witch. Well, they're down to 6, and we're in kind of a top deck war, it looks like. There's a Grand Ballgast, which Viper shoots them for casting. They do hit us with the Chancellor. Find a Prophetic Prism, which is a pretty big deal because it draws us a card. And it's our green source if we find an Agatha's Champion. Land number 10 it is, though. Our opponent draws into a Ratcatcher Trainee to go with Chancellor of Tales to get 4 rats off of the pest problem. And they find a Tome Seeker 2 for the Song of Totentans. There's an ice out for the song, but this looks really over here. Like, if I attack, they trade into the Viper with their Tome Seeker, and they don't take any damage. I think I have to just pass and hope to get a Viper ping and then draw a way to clear the path. Send in just the rats and a Tome Seeker, it looks like. Find the Agatha's Champion. I think it might be too late though, right? Like, we kill a Chancellor of Tales and have 2 blockers up. I can block a 3/2 and a 2/2 and go to 2 life. I guess that survives barely. Definitely can't attack here. Bespoke Battle Garb might kill us. Because Ratcatcher for the celebration, then they have 3... Oh my god, and another pest problem? 3 creatures with too much power. Yeah, that does just kill us. Wow. Exactsies. Alright. Here we are now for game 1 of the final round, seeing if we can get at least one match win out of this event, but this is kind of how things have been going. We're on the Triple Island, Triple Mountain Agatha's Champion hand, and that is a forced mulligan into a mono red hand, but it has a Scarecrow guide, so if our opponent doesn't remove the Scarecrow guide, we can potentially cast all these spells. I'm gonna keep it and hope. I'm trying to return to Miniature Witch, but Arena doesn't want to work. There we go. And yeah, we've got to torch the tower no matter what. If Scarecrow Guide sticks around and we hit a couple lands, then we can cast whatever we want here. So let's get things started with that turn 2 Scarecrow Guide. Our opponent starts with Minstrosity. Torch the tower, pretty great against that. I'm happy to just exile that immediately, so they get no value off of it. Jam in for 2. And if they play something egregiously horrifying, then I can ice out the spell and sack the Scarecrow Guide. But Vermin is a good spell, not an egregiously horrifying one, so we're just going to let that happen. Drop a Johann and pass the turn. We've got a mountain on top, so we know we'll have the mana to play Agatha's Champion next turn, but... Ooh, Hilda's Crown of Winter, one of the best rares in the format. It is a better version of Icy Manipulator since it's cheaper to play, cheaper to tap during your turn. It's 0 mana to tap when you do it during your turn, and if it matters later, you can just sacrifice it to draw a few cards. Insane cards. Speaking of insane cards, we've got a Realm Scorcher Hellkite waiting on top of our deck, which we cannot cast yet, but I will be able to cast it once I hit a 6th land. So we're going to play it nice and slow, holding up the ice out now, trying to make it to 6 mana for Realm Scorcher Hellkite. And our opponent's just going to pass the turn. We find Balluna's Gatekeeper on top, which thanks to Scarecrow Guide, I can cast Entry Denied and still hold up my ice out here. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's kill the rat. And we do have a land to draw into next turn now for the Realm Scorcher Hellkite. Our opponent could rat out their own rat, so they trade a rat out into the Gatekeeper, but ice out it is. Sacking the rat? I guess to buff the vermin, I suppose? But yeah, now even if I counter the ice out, the Gatekeeper still dies because it doesn't have a legal target anymore. There's no target creature on the board. Okay. Well, they don't tap Johann. Interesting. I guess I'll send Johann in then, because I have my own ice out up if they try to do a trick to kill Johann. Alright, so just tap the Scarecrow Guide to poke me for 3. Sure. And there's the 6th mana for the Realm Scorcher Hellkite. Get a double ping off it when I cast it, but they have multiple blue mana up. Just hold up the ice out here, probably. Actually, just hold the 2/1 back. So they have to use the crown again if they want to attack in with vermin. Alright, we're going to be staring at each other. Because I'm not casting this with double blue up from our opponent. Do you hit another entry denied? Cast this on the vermin this time. Cool stuff. Go to combat. They tap down Johann, but we can try to poke for 2 with Scarecrow Guide. And we do hit for 2. They're just going to sack the Crown of Winter to draw 2 cards, fair enough. Drop a Voracious Vermin. Kind of want to ice it out here and see if we can get into a counter ward during their turn. Get them to tap out of their mana by the time we cast a Realm Scorcher Hellkite. Ooh. Ice out my ice out? Please do it. Spell Stutter the ice out's still good, but that means they could have a second Spell Stutter in their hand. They've got multiples, which is a little sketchy. Is it worth playing around them having double Spell Stutter in hand? They would have had to draw an Ice Out and 2 Spell Stutters. Doesn't feel super likely. I think I slammed down the Hellkite. Although I could just Agatha's Champion, and that plays around Spell Stutter. But that's only good if I sack the Scarecrow Guide. But I guess that's fine. Right, because I won't need the Scarecrow Guide after I've gotten my green mana. Much like sacking Prophetic Prism to an Agatha's Champion. I guess if they have a Candy Grapple, that'll be pretty gross here. But actually not insanely so, they just kill the champion. It's basically just 1-for-1 removal. Alright. Well, champion resolves, it just works here. So that's pretty cool. And into the Fey Court, holding up double blue and 1. Now they put a Wicked Roll onto a flyer. Which is fine. Neither of their creatures can block, so I can just hit them for 6 twice. Can't bargain with the Hellkite anymore, but I could just haste it out for potentially 4 more damage. I think I'd like to play the Redcap Thief and get that bargain tool on the board. That bargain fodder. Maybe we can even lethal them without using the Hellkite. And then we don't even have to reveal that for a future game. I'm not even going to put a Cursed Roll on the board here. I guess it would give me more bargain fodder. I could just put it on their rat just for that. Alright, feed the Cauldron, the Redcap Thief, get a food token, which is potentially important. And they're going to Tome Seeker back and into the Fey Court. I think I just keep the Scalding Viper here. Our opponent is at 6 life. I can try to Bitter Chill the Tome Seeker, and then they counter this, and then we resolve a Realm Scorcher and kill them. They don't counter that, though. So go from lethal on board to mega super lethal. So if they have a Candy Grapple or something, they still super lose. I actually sack the Bitter Chill and keep the Saga so that if the game goes on another turn, we get to double Steam Clean next turn. Okay. So their plan was just to eat the food, or maybe they did have a Candy Grapple to try to stop lethal or something like that, but we will find a victory in game 1, and I am past the point of caring about sideboarding. So let's get right back in there for game 2. Here we are now on the draw for game 2 with a pretty reasonable hand. This might be the first time I've drawn Flick a Coin in the entire event. Could be wrong on that, but it feels like it. I think it's fine to just run out the Viper here for this matchup. Alright, Spell Stutter's fine. They are stuck on 2 mana here. Let's get that Ice Out up and just flick a coin at their face. during the end step to cycle into threats while they're waiting for mana. Well, it's not a threat yet, but it will be next turn. And our opponent is just gonna concede, still stuck on 2 mana, and they are kind of over the event, which is fair enough, because I think we are as well. We are in the 0-3 bracket, so fair concession from our opponent. We find a victory in at least one of the rounds to get a few more gems back, but just one win. Now, if we played 100% perfectly today, there's a chance we could have been 3-1 right now, but a few minor punts stack up into major losses. The casting of Prophetic Prism with 5 mana up instead of just stunning one of their creatures was pivotal in the first black-red matchup that we lost. We may have been able to turn that game into a victory because we would have gotten a couple more turns. Actually, I think we 100% would have turned the game into a victory because we would have gotten a couple more turns to find the big turnaround with the big mythic dragon, but I was not thinking that far ahead, and I got too greedy with Prophetic Prism, just hoping to immediately hit that 6th land because I was desperate for it. So very greedy decision there, knocked us out of contention because our round 2, I think, was basically unwinnable. No matter what, we were just far outclassed there. So those were the first 2 losses that got us out of the event, but had I played perfectly in that first game, then we would have been 1-1 moving into round number 3. And round number 3, I don't think our opponent's deck was that great. I think we did have a deck that outclassed them a little bit. I just played really, really sloppy in game 2, and maybe playing perfectly in our second or third game could have led to a victory there. Again, I don't think game 3 could have turned things around, but game 2, there is a chance. That one not guaranteed, like the first loss of the day. The first loss of the day was a guaranteed. If we had played better, we would have won the game. But our loss in game 2 of round 3, it really depends on what we would have drawn into. We would have gotten a couple more turns to draw into something, though, so who knows? There was a shot at a 3-win run, but I played far too loosely, and it's part of what I said when I drafted this deck. I do think this was the best place to be in the draft pod, but it is not the kind of deck that I'm very good at playing, and that actually stacked up against me pretty hard today, and we made some loose lines and got punished for it. There's always the drafts where you do make a couple just slightly loose lines, slightly suboptimal lines, and it all works out. It's still going to be fine, but today was not one of those days. We were going for slightly suboptimal lines, slightly loose lines, and just missing out on a couple lands alongside it to really, really get punished for the wrong routes that we were taking there. And that stacks up into 1-3, as today's record definitely could have been 2-2, and maybe with super tight plays, this could have been a 3-1 and into draft number 2. So definitely a bummer of a draft today, but we certainly learned a little bit of stuff for the future. The main thing, and this is something I learn over and over, and it ebbs and flows over time, the levels of greed that I have, is that we need to be, especially in a controlling defensive deck like this, we need to be making the plays that guaranteed impact the board and stop some damage, instead of gambling on our draws there, where I was casting Prophetic Prism because if I drew a land, then I could spend 2 on Prism and 2 on Bitter Chill and 2 on Entry Denied, instead of just 2 on Prism and 2 on Entry Denied. So we could have went for like Chill plus Entry Denied and just didn't Prism there at all, and it would have been significantly better and would have won us that game. So greed being the big thing that cost us a game there. And our loss in round 3, that was just at the point where we were already out of contention for day 2, so I just played too fast and too sloppy and clicked past countering one of their spells that would have stopped a significant amount of damage. So that was whatever at that point. I don't think there's much to learn there, because I was already out of contention, so I didn't I didn't have my focus going that much, and that's just going to happen. So the real big learning moment being playing your stuff that affects the board and slows down your opponent and not gambling. That's the big thing. So 1 and 3 it is going to be today. We'll grab our 1500 pity gems and leave with our tail between our legs. But on the plus side, this was the last competitive Wilds of Eldraine event, which means it is right about time to swap over to some new formats. Chromatic Cube is coming back to Arena in just a few days, and we'll be diving headfirst into that for about a week. And then we have the launch of the brand new Lost Caverns of Ixalan that I will be diving into very deep. Probably going to do a set review of all the cards in the set, maybe even live on Twitch, and then of course tons of early access draft and sealed events thanks to Wizards providing me with an early access account again. So Lost Caverns of Ixalan is just around the corner and I'm super excited for it. I don't know if you can tell from the recent Wilds of Eldraine events like the Arena Open and the just individual Wilds of Eldraine drafts that have been going up on the channel, but I'm definitely pretty bored of this format at this point. It has been quite some time with the set now, and I am ready to move on to something new, and it's about time. So very excited for that, but as for now, that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you're interested in seeing some more of these videos, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below where I'm live every Wednesday. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.